Welcome back, class. Today's project is going to be the tabletop washers boxes. So after you open your tub, the materials you're going to need, you're going to go ahead and pull out, is you're going to have 4 letter A's. They're going to be 8-inch 1x4s that are going to be marked with the letter A, and they'll have pre-drills in 2 spots on either end. You will also need 4 letter B's. They will be 6.5-inch 1x4s that will be used to go inside the letter A's. Following that, you should have 2 letter C's. That's the bottom plate for either end of your box. After that, you should have a small cup of screws. There should be 16 of these in here, maybe 1 extra. The other materials that you're going to be using will be wood glue, and you'll have some paint. I don't have paint with me today, but you'll have paint in your box. The tools that you'll need included are a Phillips screwdriver, my safety glasses, and sandpaper. Use safety glasses as needed, okay? Step 1, I'm going to grab a block A and a block B. I'm going to hold them to the best of my ability at a 90-degree angle. While holding them at a 90-degree angle, I'm going to take a screw and I'm going to slide it into one of those pre-drilled holes. I'm going to follow up with my Phillips screwdriver. I'm going to hold it at a 90-degree angle, pushing in ever so slightly, just with just enough pressure so that the screw will start going in. I'm turning to the right, and I'm going to be tightening that screw all the way in. Okay, once I get close to the end, I'm just going to go nice and slow. I should still be able to move that block ever so slightly. I'm going to grab another screw. I'm going to fill that one in. I'm going to check to make sure that my piece is flush. It should be a flush on the top here. And as long as I pre-cut those pieces right for you, they should be able to go together pretty easily. Now, if you're not confident that this is a 90-degree angle, you have a couple options the way you can check it. One, you could use the corner of a door jamb. You could also use a tri-square or a speed square to check to see if my angle's at 90 degrees. So I'm going to grab my speed square. And if I hold it up inside there, it should sit nice and tightly with no light gaps. Again, I could also check it with another block. If I take a 90-degree corner like this and I hold it in there, it should be comfortably sitting in there with no light gaps. Following that, I'm going to grab another B block. I'm going to flip my board over, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to examine my piece, make sure that my letters are on the outside so that when I go to sand at the end, it'll be a much easier process. Grab 2 more screws, and I'm going to finish tightening this down. Now this last corner could be a little bit difficult, so you can kind of see how I have a slight overlap there. I'm going to take my thumb as a guide and I'm going to push my edge out just a little bit here so that my edges are flush. I'm going to start my screw, then I'm going to finish tightening it down. Leaving me with a complete box. So I should have an 8-inch by 8-inch box because I have 6 inches here, 3/4 of an inch here, 3/4 of an inch here, and then when I add those 2 together, I should have 8 inches and 8 inches along with 4 screws and 4 screws. I'm going to go ahead and set that off to the side, bringing up part C. Now there's a few things I can do to find the center of a square. This is an 8-inch by 8-inch square. I can take my ruler and my pencil, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line on the opposite corners. Okay, so I'm going to line my edges up with my corners. I'm going to go ahead and draw a line all the way down. And I'm going to move my piece over to the next side, and I'm going to draw a line all the way down. Once I've drawn my X, what I want to do is I'm going to take my ramekin cup, I'm going to draw a circle I'm gonna line it up in the center as best I can, and then I'm gonna draw my circle. Okay, leaving me with an X that marks the center, and as close as I can get, I'm gonna have that circle that's gonna be the cup for my game. The next step, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna use my eraser on my pencil, or I can use the piece of sandpaper provided, and I'm gonna get rid of those lines. Okay, so what I should be left with is an X on the center, and then I should have a spot to glue my cup. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get my glue out. You can apply it with your finger, with a paper towel. If you have an extra brush, you can do that as well. I have a bottle, so it's gonna be a little different today. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a nice ring around my bottle, around my cup here, sorry, a little 2-ounce cup. I should have a ring there. Then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put some glue inside my ring of my box here. Then I'm gonna mate the two and press it down. Now what you should be left with is the cup that is glued to your bottom. Once you've done that, it needs to set to the side and dry for anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour. Then you can come back and you can glue your box to your base. And when it comes to gluing the box to the base, what I want to do is I'm going to run a nice ring around the edge of my box. I'm also going to run a ring of glue around the box itself, just to make sure I can make this as strong as I can get it. So I have a ring of glue here and a ring of glue around my bottom. Then I'm going to mate the two, so I'm just going to press them together. You can wiggle it a little bit here, and if you notice you have overhang anywhere, you want to go ahead and line everything up. And then what you should be left with is a box that has your cup in the middle and your ring around the edge. Once I've done that, that's all I can do for the day. I'm gonna set this off to the side and I'm gonna allow it to dry. What we're gonna do, we're gonna take our sandpaper, we're gonna sand off all the edges. So I wanna make sure I sand off the top. I wanna make sure I gently round the edges. Anywhere that there is a sharp edge, I wanna make sure that that is sanded and smooth. Another thing I want you to do is include your own set of rules. It's your house, it's your project, and your rules. For me, the game can be played with small 1-inch washers. It can also be played with change. You could do nickels versus dimes, dimes versus quarters, so on and so forth. But what I want you to do is figure out how far apart do they need to be. Do they need to be 4 feet apart? Do they need to be 6 feet apart? 10 feet apart? Are you going to play with 3 dimes versus 3 nickels? It's up to you. But I want you to do that at the end of your project. You're going to submit your rules as well with a minimum of 3. Are you serious? Oh! Nope. Off the wall. Peace.